Today we are celebrating the history of African Americans in this Black History Month. In 1619, the first Africans as slave laborers are introduced in America. A Dutch trader exchanges his cargo of 20 Africans for food in Jamestown, Virginia in August of 1619. Amistad is one of many ships bringing over Africans to be sold in America. Hands of slaves. 1773. Phyllis Whitley is published in London and various magazines. 1808. The U.S. bans the import of slaves, but not the sale and practices of slavery. 1831. Nate Turner, a slave and a preacher, leads a short and bloody slave revolt in Southampton Country, Virginia. 1839. Joseph Quinn leads 37 African slaves in revolt aboard the Amistad slave ship, killing the captain and taking control of the ship. Later, the matter goes to the Supreme Court and the Africans are freed. 1846. Frederick Douglass launched an abolitionist newspaper called the North Star. 1849. Harriet Tubman escapes from slavery and becomes one of the most celebrated and effective leaders of the Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman never lost a slave and was never captured. The Underground Railroad is started by William Steele. It is a network of secret routes, way stations, safe havens, and meeting points in which thousands of African Americans will escape from slavery. Uncle Tom's Cabin, anti-slavery novel, is published. 1857. Dred Scott appeals to the U.S. Supreme Court for his freedom. Unfortunately, it was denied. 1861. Civil War begins between the North and the South in America. 1863. Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation declaring the freedom of slaves. 1865. The Civil War ends and the 13th Amendment to the Constitution abolishes slavery. Abraham Lincoln is assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. 1866, 1875, the Civil Rights Act sought to protect the freedom and grant full citizenship to those born on the U.S. soil. 1881, Tuskegee Institute is founded by former slaves as a teacher's training school. 1896, George Washington Carver is appointed Director of Agricultural Research at Tuskegee Institution, and segregation is legalized. NAACP is founded. 1919, Harlem Renaissance, a period of almost 15 years of some of the most important and prolific writers, artists, and musicians emerged in African American communities. The Tuskegee experiment begins. 1954. Brown versus Board of Education. Dorothy Dandridge Best Actress nominee that year. 1955, Rosa Parks refuses to give up her seat to a white patron on the Montgomery, Alabama bus. She is arrested and a year-long boycott started. In 1963, over 20,000 people marched on Washington for jobs and freedom. Martin Luther King made his famous speech about racial harmony begins. In 1965, Malcolm X is assassinated in Harlem. Bill Cosby network TV show I Spy debuts. Thurgood Marshall appointed to Supreme Court. 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated on the balcony of his hotel. Robert Johnson launched BET, a cable network. 1986, Oprah Winfrey becomes the first African American woman to host a national syndicated talk show. Colin Powell is appointed chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. Clarence Thomas is appointed to the Supreme Court. Kara Mosley Bruin of Illinois becomes the first African American woman elected to the United States Senate. Toni Morrison awarded Nobel Prize.
I've seen my share of trouble, but I'm still here. Bruises, I've taken my lumps and bruises, but I'm still here.
Halle Berry is the first African American woman to win an Oscar. Barack Obama is elected to Illinois Senate. Condoleezza Rice appointed Secretary of State. Coretta Scott King, civil rights activist and widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., died at the age of 78. Oprah Winfrey opens the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa. 2008, Barack Obama becomes the first Black president of the United States of America.
There's been so many things that's held us down, but now